Yad Shea Jihan Gearon Yanishya, Twitch eating nishle, dona hisle bashes chin, last che edashe dona hisle dashanale, teacher jot that na sha IC. Yad hello, greetings. My name is Jihan Gearon. I am Navajo on my mother's side and African American or Black on my father's side. I am Bitterwater Clan, and I come from a community called Old Sawmill, Arizona on the Navajo Nation. And I currently live in northern Arizona. I am an organizer, an activist, and an artist. I have worked in the environmental justice and climate justice movement for 15 years, and most recently, and I'm most known for my work with the Black Mesa Water Coalition, which formed to protect water from coal mining in a region of the Navajo Nation called Black Mesa. I've also worked with the Indigenous Environmental Network, and I'm currently making my living as a political educator, facilitator, consultant, and artist. I'm a painter. So I've worked with One Resilient Earth a bit over the past couple of years, and recently participated in the youth learning journey and the session on staying with the trouble, interdependence, and the not knowing. And I just wanted to provide some highlights of that talk. First, I want to say that this topic is so important because it's just the unique place that we're at in society right now. I think of it as the limits of this very recent, recently created society and economy has, it's reached its limits now. And we're seeing that through impacts to the planet, climate change, but also the impacts to water and land and people's health. We're seeing it in the pushback from social movements against things like patriarchy, like the gender binary, like racism, like anti-Blackness, like colonization. So it's a very unique time, certainly. And I think a way to think about it is there's a lot of shaking up going on in the world, right? And during that time of like not knowing, during that time of fear, anger, sadness, questioning, wondering, things are very complex in our world and also in the climate justice movement. So it's really important that we try to figure out how to deal with that complexity, how to move forward for our communities and for ourselves, our communities, Mother Earth, and for ourselves as well. So I wanted to provide some advice from what I've learned over these past years as an activist, as an artist, and also just as a human being and a Navajo person. So first off, I would like for you to get it into your head that unlearning is more important than learning, right? All of us have grown up being impacted by this world of capitalism and patriarchy and white supremacy almost all of our lives, right? All of us are affected by it in some way or another. And we've been brought up to think in a certain way so that this world can continue to go forward. So how can we unlearn the ways that we've been taught? For example, most of us, including myself, even being a Navajo and Indigenous person, I grew up learning English. And thinking about the difference between English and Navajo or other Indigenous languages says a lot. So in learning English, we're definitely taught, it's noun focused, right? We're taught how to define and rank and categorize things, right? As where in Indigenous languages, it's a lot more about the relationship between things. So it's not like this plant is this species, this genus, this family, or whatever, right? It's more of like the words teach you how you interact with that plant, right? What you use that plant for. Is there danger about that plant? So it's really more about the relationship between things as opposed to what the things are themselves, right? So growing up and learning English, living in a world that prioritizes the English language here, it does impact how you think. So what are ways that we can unlearn? When we learn to categorize, rank, define, I think we struggle with these ideas of dichotomies, right? So these ideas of good or bad, right and wrong. In the US, like Democrat, Republican, or male and female, we come up with these really strict binaries that I think are not helpful in this time of uncertainty, in a time when we need to be very nuanced and strategic about how we maneuver through the complexity. That type of dichotomous thinking doesn't help us. In my culture, there's one teaching among many about quartz crystals that I've learned for Navajo people, that it should be 12-sided, and that's because they say that there's 12 sides to look at everything. So that's an example of an Indigenous teaching that tries to help us to understand complexity, right? There's no one or two ways, right? There's many ways of looking at things and understanding them. Yeah. Another thing, another bit of advice that I like to give you, this comes from personal experience through being burnt out, through becoming seriously sick and working through it, is to really take care of yourselves, especially if you're in this movement for the long haul. It's important that you honor your body, honor your emotions, and really take care of yourself and each other in a way that's broader and larger than simply meeting your goals and objectives and doing all the time. That's really a hard thing to unlearn, but it's something that I really encourage you to do, right? Especially because the moment is complex, the moment is tricky. We really need to come from like a grounded place, and that means taking care of yourself. Listening to your body, when it's saying, I'm hurting, I'm tired, listen to it. Don't just, ignore it, drink some coffee and push on through. Really honor yourself, honor your emotions and how you're feeling, so that they don't blow up in meetings, in the work, in the places that it's not helpful for it to be, right? How can you honor your emotions? For myself, that's a big reason why I've taken up art and painting, is it's a way for me to let out my emotions, think about my emotions, process my emotions, and just be really present in the moment. I want to encourage you to think of art and creativity as something that's integral in helping you to move through these things, rather than like an extra thing on the side that you don't do or is not valuable unless you're getting paid for it or if you're good at it. And the last important thing I want to leave you with, something that's been taught to me always in this movement from many elders and leaders, especially Indigenous people, is that the most important thing you can do is to build and strengthen your spiritual relationship with Mother Earth. No matter where you are on the planet, you're a child of Mother Earth, and that's not to encourage people to appropriate Indigenous knowledge or use it in a negative way, because Indigenous knowledge is place-based, right? So how my culture and the knowledge that I have about my culture comes from where my people have lived, right? But we're all children of Earth, and the truth is that Mother Earth wants to have a strong relationship with you. This idea that spirituality is like being a wizard or like talking with animals and, being an avatar and manipulating like the elements or something like that. If that's your expectation, that's going to hinder you. You have to start somewhere. Start at the beginning. Is there a park? Is there a place? Is there a tree? Is there a plant? Is there something that you can start with to build that personal relationship with, spiritual relationship? The same as we build relationships with our family members, with our colleagues, in our romantic relationships, there's also a caretaking and honoring that needs to happen between you as a single human being and Mother Earth. And so I encourage you to really think about that. This is really important to Indigenous peoples, and what it will do for you is to help you to feel grounded. It will help you to feel strong and to have a direction and vision coming from, from Mother Earth rather than from yourselves. It's very easy to get caught up in all the words and the parts per million and things like that when we're climate activists. And what building that relationship with Mother Earth will do building that relationship with yourself will do is to strengthen and ground you for the fight forward. So I just encourage you all to keep doing what you're doing. Take care of yourselves, and I wish you all the best.
Tongue is gentle, oh, be. Your sweet, sweet nectar, oh, be. You glow from inside, honey bee.
Wild and rooted, digging pathways, a distinction from nature or built directly within. We are the ones who often sin, losing the purity as we build without limit. Let us look to these species full of color for integrity. Under the surface, where slime and decomposed leaves generate resilient ambient minerals that carry on the work started above ground by the bees. They are true, and they are calm, a sound that will resonate through each flower, honey jar, and the ecosystems beyond, a vibrance and a new romance, a magical zone of dream and stone. Shadows hanging down below the surface. Original root. Is there such a thing connected to the mother fruit? Spreads like the mycelium threads. Mycelium below the surface, a teacher of peace and resilience. Mais le dégât fatigue plus qu'il repose. Les plantes, même pendant une vie pleine d'action, elles se décomposent.